In a quiet village called Belmere, where willow trees bend low and fog hugs the rooftops, lived a gentle, soft-spoken girl named Éloïse. She was unlike anyone else, kind, thoughtful, but shy. What made her truly special was her long, magical French braid, woven every morning with care, holding a silver secret and melodies only the wind seemed to know. Hidden deep inside it was something even more precious, a small, silver flute that once belonged to her grandfather. Every afternoon, Éloïse sat alone near the garden of her stone cottage. She pulled her silver flute from her braid, her fingers hesitant but hopeful, and played a soft melody that only her cat Emerald listens. Her music was her comfort, her memory of him. After the melody faded, Éloïse smiled softly to Emerald. She walked slowly home, the wind gently rustling the dry winter leaves. Every day she touched her grandfather's flute on the shelf, and remember him. "I miss you," she whispered. That night as she goes to sleep, a strange dream came. She was sitting barefoot beside a tiny pond in a forest. The sky above was violet, and mist danced over the surface. As she lifted her silver flute to her lips, she awoke, and saw something really strange. Her silver flute began to glow softly, moonlight silver. When she awoke, the glow had vanished, but something had changed. The next morning, a bitter wind howled across Belmere. Snowflakes began to fall, weeks earlier than they should. The bakery's ovens no longer baked bread. The books in the library refused to stay on shelves, fluttering through the air like frightened birds. And then, she saw him. A cloaked figure, half-shadow, moving toward the forest. She followed, heart racing. He slipped through the trees and toward the old schoolhouse. Next morning, Éloïse once again goes to school. Hiding behind a frost-covered wall, Éloïse watched as he whispered strange words into the wind. Inside the classroom, every child sat motionless, their eyes wide and glassy, their bodies still. She tried to wake them. She called their names. But the spell was too strong. Éloïse, frightened but brave, followed them into the darkening forest. She tried waking them, whispering, nudging, pleading. Then, with trembling hands, she reached into her long French braid and pulled out her hidden silver flute and starts playing a melody. The music shivered the night air. The cloaked figure turned to her. "Why did you curse them?" Éloïse cried. "Who are you?" But instead of answering, he vanished, along with the children, into a swirl of snow and wind. Only a torn piece of paper was left behind. Clutching it, Éloïse ran back to the village. She tried to tell everyone, but no one believed her. The people were too confused, too sorrowful, too afraid. Éloïse, disappointed, returned to her home. She sat alone in her little cottage, staring at the torn paper, and then, she remembered. She had seen it before. She rushed to her grandfather's attic, where old cobwebs and forgotten stories slept. There, in his diary, she found it, the same page, a story of a boy named Salas, betrayed by the villagers long ago, cast out, unloved, left to vanish in the cold, because they thought his flute called the storms. He wrote that how deeply he regretted it, that he had failed to protect him because at that time he was just a boy. The cloak figure was what Salas became. Hurt, forgotten and full of sorrow, he cursed Belmere not in anger, but in pain. Éloïse's heart ached. But then she remembers a moment, a lesson. The melody her grandfather once taught her, a healing tune that soothed broken spirits. She ran to her garden where his grandfather hides it. She opened his old secret music box, glowing faintly, and studied the notes carved within. Then, without waiting, she ran. Through forest paths and whispering trees, to the deepest part of the woods, she stood bravely and played the melody again. From the shadows, the cloaked figure appeared again. She stood tall. "Salas," she whispered. "I know your story. I'm so sorry, and I am sorry for all they did to you. But I am here to help you." Then she began to play the healing melody. As she played, her grandfather appeared like moonlight, his own flute shimmering beside hers. Together, the melody danced. As their melody filled the cold air, the cloaked figure shimmered. The wind calmed. The trees hushed. In the place of the figure now stood an 11-year-old boy, Salas, smiling, tears in his eyes. Then, with peace in his heart, he vanished like a snowflake. The curse was broken, but he left something. Éloïse picked up his wooden flute, walked to the silver pond from her dream, and gently tossed it in. Then she turned and came to the sleeping children in the woods. She played once more, her silver flute bright as starlight. One by one, the children stirred, then smiled, then laughed. The snow melted. The winds softened. Belmere was warm again. And Éloïse, now brave, radiant, and still with her magical braid, played her silver flute in the open, no longer shy, her melody more beautiful than ever before. And they say, on quiet nights in Belmere, when someone is lost or lonely, a silver flute's melody drifts through the wind, as if reminding the heart, it's never truly alone.